Hello. So here we are. I am so excited that we've been talking about doing this. I don't know how long. Does anybody, I know we did the citrus oils breakdown. How long ago was that? Like last November, October, in that range. And we've been talking about wanting to do trees for a long time. I think ever since the Northern Escape came out. And then now we have this wonderful Midnight Forest. And it was like, that's it. We've got to do trees because we're all a little tree obsessed these days. I know my husband was in here today and stole my Midnight Forest. So darn, I guess I'll have to open another bottle. But but yeah, so we've just had trees on the brain, right? It's just something that we all love. It's the type of oil that I think everyone really enjoys. Men, women, kids, everyone. They're safe to use, and they have such a wide range of properties and such a wide range of uses that it makes sense to actually talk about it. It could be easy to think that a Siberian fir, a Douglas fir, a black spruce, are all kind of the same, and they really aren't. We're going to talk today about trees that basically focusing first on, well, I shouldn't say it that way. We're going to categorize them based on the part of the tree that the oil is coming from. So that first we're going to talk about trees that our oils are sourced from the resin. Then we're going to move into wood and bark. And after that, leaves, twigs, so forth. We are not, unfortunately, going to be able to talk about the other parts of trees, such as think about it, pink peppercorn, that's coming from a tree, magnolia coming from a tree, neroli coming from a tree, as those just based on their chemistry fall into sort of a different type of category with our florals and such. So just a heads up on that so that you know the scope of what we're going to talk about today. So let me introduce who we have joining us. As always, our wonderful Miss Diana, which, by the way, hello, amazing skincare class last night. Thank you so much. If you guys didn't catch that, it is on a recording. Go back and find it and listen. I loved the beginning. I love the whole thing, but I really loved how you talked about the tools. That was just so awesome and helpful. I've already ordered my cognac, not related to the alcohol, face scrubby thing, and I'm excited to try that out. But we have Diana Webb from Wellness is Essential.
Hi there.
Hello. Coming to us from the grocery store. No, live out in the field, we've got Miss Romelia Rodriquez Walters from CasaWaltersEssentials.
Hi, everyone.
So you have to share some snacks with us when the kids get back in the car with whatever loot they've picked up. Our wonderful partner out in Corrales, Miss Tammy Lane from PurePlantOils.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
And our lovely partner, I can't wait to see you all in person, Miss Susan Velazquez from Epiphanyeo Essentials.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, and I'm Kari from RavensNestEssentials. If you have any questions for us, feel free to, if you are here live right now, put them in the chat, unmute, or if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to add them into comments. We'll get back to you. If you have questions for anyone specifically, all of their contact information will be available in the description box, whether you're doing this on podcast or on YouTube. So be sure and check that out. Okay, so trees, right? I think trees are such an interesting oil. I was thinking about it a lot today because I was obviously doing some extra reading. Unlike our perennial flowers and herbs and our annuals and things that are harvested and ripped up, trees are there year round, right? They're just they have this longevity, this resilience, this strength. And I feel like that is the big message that carries over in their oils. It's just such a, there's that great picture. I think Tammy, you had it from Laura Jacobs of For Balance, where the tree is just growing so tall into the sky, but its roots are so deep, equally deep into the ground, right? That grounding sense. So I'm excited for us to dig in on these. I guess we have to start with the king, right? It would be disrespectful to not start with the first one. We're going to deal with resins first. So Susan, can you explain exactly what is when we talk about a resin, what are we talking about?
Well, resins are really interesting. And of course, frankincense is my absolute most favorite oil. So I'm really happy that we're starting with him. The resins are, they are a plant part that are made to heal the tree, right? So if the tree is damaged in some way, the resin fills in those spaces and hardens and helps to heal the tree. And so they have really interesting chemical properties because of how the tree uses it for its own health, right? But it is in the interior of the tree. And so we have to get at it. So if you think of like, if you've ever seen a pine tree sort of oozing sap, I think of it kind of like that, right? And then when it comes out and it hits the air, then it hardens and it forms what are called tears, which, you know, it's sad, right? But those tears are then processed, and that's where we obtain the oils from that. And so the tree has to be treated in a certain way, harvested in a certain way, so that the oils are of good quality. They're of the finest quality, which means they're not the first press. Like if we think of olives and olive oil, that first press is like the really good olive oil, right? With resins, it's not like that. We have to go in deeper to the tree and get in, which sometimes in the case of frankincense involves scoring the tree, you know, cutting into the tree to get that deeper flow is what we want for the really high quality frankincense oil.
Yeah. And sustainability becomes a really big deal when we talk about resin trees, right? You can't over harvest. Obviously, you'll kill the poor thing. And some of these trees go years in between being able to be harvested, right? And it's just a really interesting part, you know, of the. I love if you want to kind of see a little bit more about the sustainability aspect of it, I love doTERRA has some great co-impact sourcing videos on frankincense and copaiba and how they're sourced that I feel like do such a great job of describing and explaining how that works and the importance of that sustainability. Really just fascinating. But frankincense specifically, right? What don't we use it for?
Well, and that's just it, right? I mean, if we look up frankincense, we see an amazing number of body systems where frankincense is applicable. So I had it open, and then of course I looked up another oil, and so now I don't have it open. But let's just go off the top of our heads, right? Because I use it on my head all the time for headache, discomfort. So we want to think brain, right? Like in our neurological system, frankincense is wonderful, healing, calming for our neurological system, you know, head to toe. Wherever we've got nerves, frankincense can be really helpful. It's very helpful for things that involve the brain, right? It's great for our skin and healing and supporting the skin. It's great for our cellular reproduction. So as our cells divide and make new cells, it supports the creation of healthy cells, which is obviously really important, right? It is great for discomfort and pain relief. And so, you know, that affects lots of areas in terms of our skin, our muscles, our joints, you know, all that kind of stuff. And of course, you know, headaches, as I mentioned already, and it's going to help with skin healing. But another interesting aspect for frankincense is that it also has emotional benefits. And so you talked about that kind of grounding nature of tree oils, and it's really true. Frankincense is a very grounding oil, right? We find it in a lot of our blends, including the new Midnight Forest, because of that emotional aspect to it, right?
Yeah, really it's great. Frankincense and copaiba, both resin trees, were huge components to supporting my father-in-law in his recovery time post-stroke. It's incredible how supportive emotionally and physically and through the healing process frankincense is. And it makes sense when you think of it. I mean, it's where it's coming from on the tree. It's healing the tree. If you don't know, it's coming out of Somalia or Oman. And these are not easy climates, easy places to heal and thrive. And these trees manage, you know, to do so. It's just one of my favorites. I use it under my tongue every single day. for emotional support. I'm sure everyone here uses it for something. Yeah, yeah. It's just it's a must have. There's a reason it's in our top 10 oils, right?
Absolutely.
Does anyone have another way that you guys like to use it to add, or anything to add on frankincense? I know we can do an hour on frankincense, but you know what I mean? Like,
It's great for skin.
That's exactly what I was
Wonderful.
going to add, Diana.
great for skin.
It's great for anti-aging and skin care. Yes.
I just love it. I love the smell. I love the taste. I mean, frankincense is also known. I mean, I think one of the first fascinating facts I ever learned about frankincense was that it is sort of like a super booster, if you will, to all the other oils. Being able to go in and sort of open up, if you will, and allow the other oils to sort of, it kind of paves the way for them to get in there and do their job the best they can, right? Yeah, Tammy.
It's actually considered an enhancer. So whatever oil that you combine it with, it helps make those chemical constituents be even more profound. So that's why it's so beneficial for cellular health all the way around, regardless of what other oil you're combining it with or on its own.
Yeah, which is incredible. And so I started just adding at least a drop. If I made a roller ball, I added a drop or two of frankincense. It took me a little while because, you know, she's not cheap, to start using it in my diffuser. But oh my gosh, when you add a drop, look at Susan, she's like, yes.
It's the best. It's the best. It's like the difference between, you know, a glass of wine and like that just gorgeous, wonderful glass of red wine that you're just gonna savor. To me, that's frankincense in the diffuser. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think of it like salt.
Yeah.
You know, like if you make a wonderful meal, but there's no, all the ingredients are there, but the salt, a little dash of salt that just brings it all together and turns it into something really delicious. Yeah, that's frankincense in my mind. So yeah, get it, use it, love it. It's available. Here's the thing. It is so available to us, which I love in doTERRA. It is pure. It is the best frankincense you can get your hands on. But we have so many ways that you can get it for such a great price. The wellness kits. December, there's usually a 200 PV offer. It's in most or many of our actual startup kits, which you can order at any time. You can use points for it. You can have frankincense in your life. So get it, love it, you know. I'm going to move on though, because we have so many to cover in a short period of time. The next one, I mean, how do I not go to myrrh? Because, you know, it's almost a poem, frankincense and myrrh. So I think of myrrh personally. For me, even more than frankincense, I know that sounds silly, but it's such a biblical oil in my mind. Maybe because I don't hear of it. I hadn't heard of it in use in other ways outside of the Bible before I got involved with doTERRA and essential oils. But as soon as I did, boy, oral health and skin, that's what I hear constantly on myrrh. I know, I'm sorry, Susan, I'm going to hit you a couple times because it's also like, you're just like the frankincense and myrrh girl over here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm okay being that girl. The thing that I think is so, you know, I say this in every class when I talk about myrrh that just kind of cracks me up, is that myrrh has been used since ancient times, right? I mean, frankincense too, obviously. But if we look at, you know, the old embalming practices, the Egyptians used myrrh for embalming, right? And so if myrrh can help keep the skin of a mummy, you know, mummified, it certainly can do wonders for our living skin, right? I mean, it's amazing for skin. It's so moisturizing. And that is probably one of the ways I use it the most is just adding it to a moisturizer. It's so good in that regard, especially for somebody who's suffering from dry skin. But there are other great things that myrrh can be used for. It stimulates the immune system. It also is supportive of our musculoskeletal system, and it's very calming. So that's a really interesting aspect. And, you know, there are, you know, my favorite way to study oils is as oils of the Bible. And so there are interesting places where we find myrrh and its calming capacity in scripture. But for sure, you know, it's, I think one of those that maybe doesn't come up as often as it should for multiple uses. So I will say the thing that we do every single day with myrrh is it's in my deodorant spray, which is not very glamorous.
Yeah, you really just went from like,
I know,
the
I went from
Bible
poetic and beautiful
and
to
poetry to your
stinky.
pits.
Sorry. But that was one of the things that was interesting to me in studying it as part of, you know, doing oils of the Bible, to see that it has deodorizing, you know, capabilities in addition to being moisturizing and, you know, healing and all these other things that it has. That it, you know, it was really what got me thinking, well, I wonder if we could do something with that, you know, when we were having trouble with trying to find a deodorant that would work for those of us who have really sensitive and reactive skin. So yeah, it's not poetic, but let me tell you, it is a lifesaver. So
It's
I stand by my myrrh.
we're all glad you do. And
I was
that
gonna say, I'm gonna try not to sing that for you, but it's going through my head.
That's so funny. I've been walking around the house all day, go, let's talk about trees, baby. Let's talk about, you know, so I guess, you know, we all kind of get these little songs in our, so Diana, I know, I'm sorry to throw you under the bus here, but didn't your husband use myrrh for some dental challenges, if you will, or he was having a toothache and it did wonders?
Yes, it did wonders. Yes. So yeah, between myrrh and some clove, the myrrh just really helped him. He was having a lot of pain. He's going to have to get a root canal, but that really was in 2018 when that was bothering him. And his condition has, you know, really not deteriorated since then. It's just that he just needs to, you know, he damaged his tooth somehow and ended up having to use the myrrh. And it was just an instant relief is the thing, because he is not a complainer. He's never in pain. Sometimes I wonder if he can feel anything, you know, like physically, because he doesn't complain about anything. And so he was grumpy, and it was really getting him very out of sorts, and he's just not that person. So it just helped him so much to get the myrrh on there and just calm everything down in his system, because he just was like really, really just feeling that. And I guess, you know, tooth pain is pretty primordial, like feeling that you get, you know, like it really gets you, and you're just like really just feeling, you know, upset if you're having pain in that area. So it was just a blessing to have it. Yeah, for sure.
It's a beautiful oil for so many things. I was surprised at its nurturing sort of trust and love and the emotional side. It's like the mother oil, right? The oil of the mother and child bond. And I just thought that was beautiful, especially in the way also for biblical use, you know, that mother-child story. But it's just it's thick. Okay. You're going to have to be a little patient. You also might have to tend the orifice, if you will, from time to time. A little coconut oil rubbed on there, because sometimes it will kind of clog, if you will, crystallize and clog a little bit there. And I found coconut oil works great to just kind of rub on the outside, and it takes care of it. But does anyone have tips or stories or anything they want to add on myrrh?
I do love it for skin.
Yeah.
And Susan has made some amazing blends with it, but it also helps your thyroid, helps you calm down a lot of things that are systemically going on with you. And I know Susan has made some beautiful recipes that just like knocked our socks off.
Yeah.
with the balms and with the blending in a roller bottle that just like, they're just a treasure. Like she gave them to us as like a gift. And we just like felt very gifted by it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So because I'm a barefoot girl, right? I mean, I just,
Yeah.
what are shoes for? Like going into stores, right? So we live in the desert. I walk around in the dirt. Corrales has the bosque, but we have a lot of dirt. So my feet get really cracked and dry. So I love using the myrrh, and I combine it with the yarrow palm syrup or serum, not syrup.
Yeah.
It makes it syrupy, but I love to put that on my heels, especially in the winter when I can put socks on top of it and let it soak in overnight. It just heals those cracks and everything else. So it's tremendous for that. It also helps, especially men that work where their hands get dry and cracked from working like mechanic work or wood, because they're in that petroleum type stuff. It's also very good for their hands.
Yeah, I think one of the first times I did like a little gathering at my house, we made a face cream, like an eye cream, and it was raw coconut oil with frankincense and myrrh. And man, that is luxurious on your face. It feels so good, and it's so easy to make and use. It's 3 ingredients, right? But I love that stuff. You keep it in a little jar. Great.
Use that whole down to the last little, how much can you scrape out of the bottom?
Right.
Make another one, but it lasted for so long. It was just so nice on my face that reacts to everything.
And just to echo what Diana had said earlier about Susan's balm, that balm of Gilead that you sent to us, oh my gosh, my mom-in-law loved it. And I would just put it up and down her surgical scar on her back, and she's just like, this is so soothing. And it no longer itches, and it just looked really lovely when the last time I saw it, with the balm. And yeah, we were scraping to the last bits of it on that for sure. It was too precious.
So obviously now we're going to have to post Susan's recipe for the balm that she's made. But I think that we have that somewhere in our Facebook group. So go check out the Facebook
Bible class.
Yeah, to find it and see, and absolutely in the Oils of the Bible series classes. So, okay, how about copaiba?
So copaiba is another one of those resin oils, right? We get it from the trees by tapping. What I really love about it is I love it that I can use it on my dogs. It's one of those really calming oils for them. And they just get really grounded. And I know that since I started using it on our Rudy boy with all of his brain trauma that he had a whole lot of other issues associated with it. Those are, I mean, he's still broken. He still has some issues, but it's not like extreme. He has more control of his jaw. He has more control of his bladder even.
Wow, that's good.
And his neck, as far as being able to hold it up for a longer period of time. So we found a lot of support from that from him. I personally just like to use it in my facial serum. I just love that on my face. That with frankincense, myrrh, and cedarwood, which we'll talk about. But those are my 4 big tree oils for my skin. I just find so much relief from it. It really helps to calm down my skin's very sensitive, so the copaiba really helps to calm down the flares. And we lost you there for a bit.
I know.
So
I'm
just
sorry.
jumped on in there.
Thank you. No, that's perfect, because we had a little power flicker which shuts off my Wi-Fi. It's the heat, the Wi-Fi, and then I had to wait for it to come back on. So that was.
Well, we have a roll of thunder happening outside. It's so lovely. I want the skies just to open up and pour.
Break this heat wave, right? I was trying to say, and I don't know if somebody took it over, but the difference between how copaiba is sourced, where it's tapped as opposed to scarred, it's really interesting. So definitely check out, it's very easy to find. Just do a search for Copaiba, doTERRA, and you will find those sourcing videos. It's just really cool. And how, there's not a Copaiba farm somewhere. These are wild harvested through the people who've owned these trees, if you will, for generations. It's just so cool. I love the story of our Copaiba and how important it is to Brazil and the area where we get it from. So, and as you all know, it's my top 3. I don't know where Trixie's on here, but I know it's in her top party oil, right? It's under my tongue every day. I can't say it. I can't walk past a bottle of it without having some. It's just, my whole family, what's going on? Get the Copaiba. Somebody gets hurt, get the Copaiba. Somebody has, the beginnings of a little something, get the Copaiba. We use it everywhere all the time. It's so gentle. It's just so gentle, but it's weird to say, but it's very gentle and very powerful at the same time. What it does is powerful, but it does it in such a gentle way. The taste is really, for me, wonderful. I know not everyone agrees, but how gentle it is on your skin, it's just incredible. So, and on your stomach, it's not like a peppermint. It doesn't have any of that heat. It's just very calm and soothing. It's an absolute favorite of mine and our whole family. I can't say enough about it. I know Trixie's, it's totally one of her. We argue over who's more in love with Copaiba, but if you haven't tried it, get it. It's another one. And I think Copaiba is like, to me, Copaiba is the super affordable frankincense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it does so many of the same things.
And if you know how to use frankincense, then you know how to use Copaiba, right?
Yeah.
They're very similar in application.
Absolutely.
Even though chemically they're different.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both so good. I mean, I don't know, all 3. It's interesting how as we're talking about these tree oils, these 3 here, they have a lot of similarities in the ways that we use them, but they're so different. You'll notice the viscosity is different. The smell is very, very different. The taste is very, very different. With all of these, myrrh's ingestible, right?
Yes.
So all of these are ingestibles. We will get into some later that are not ingestible. So they, they're just, I love them. They're some of our favorites. I'm glad we got to start off with them. Does anyone have anything else to add on Copaiba? I know you do. More Copaiba. Some emotional love on Copaiba?
Well, it is a wonderful oil emotionally, but, one of the main ways when you mentioned the stomach, it's the oil. Copaiba is actually the oil of unveiling, but and it really helps you emotionally to see inside of yourself, looking for the deeper meaning of what's going on with you. And it really does help you to release any kind of shame that you might be carrying along with you for other people might have attached that to you, or as through your life, or you might have felt that. But that's why it's just so it just helps you, it just supports you. But yeah, like if I can't sleep, if I feel like I just turn to Copaiba. So like I feel itchy skin, like I'm in that time of life where I'm having just a fun time all the time, dealing with everything that's happening inside me, but or whatever. And so if I feel itchy skin or any kind of like restlessness, the Copaiba calms that down. If my stomach is just talking to me and saying, wake up, I'm having some weird thing that I don't want to deal with, I put that over my belly and it just calms right down. If I'm having any tension or discomfort, I put the Copaiba on. It calms right down. I take it under my tongue, like you said, as often as possible, and it just has really brought me a sense of peace and calm, and just really settled so many things. If I'm out of sorts in any way, that's what the first thing that I'll reach for. Definitely.
I like what you're talking about with like the guilt aspect on the emotional side. If you don't have, I am enjoying my new Advanced Oil Magic book, by the way. And I like how they describe it in there as unveiling the falseness in shame and guilt, which
There you go.
is such a beautiful, simple way of putting it. But you think about how often, sometimes we feel, that like, the buzzword now is like imposter syndrome, right? Or like we feel guilt, or we feel like we shouldn't, the things that are in our life, like maybe we don't deserve them, or maybe, maybe you feel overly guilty that you played a role in someone else's anything happening, which, is, in this case, you're dealing with something that's not true, but the feeling for you is still there, and it's very limiting. Copaiba is fantastic at sort of helping to see the realities of what, is real, and removing sort of that insecurity that builds and builds and builds with ongoing shame and guilt, and helps you to work through it. So it's just since the very moment that we got this oil, what was it, 2018, right? Man, has it been a gift everyone here has had it for that long. It's been amazing, right? It's just been a go-to, absolutely, in our home. When we had the shortages, if you will, or the concerns about, right? I made sure I had some Copaiba stocked up. It was one of those that I'm like, oh no, I'm not running out of Copaiba. And if you remember when we first had it, when it was first released, it was so popular that we were limited to one a month. You could only buy one a month, and only on LRP. So, and if you look at how it's sourced, you'll see why. You'll see why it is such a limited resource. So yeah, amazing. Okay, so moving on into, now we're going to shift gears out of our resins into bark and wood. All right, so these are going to be oils that are steam distilled from their bark, from their wood. A lot of times this is going to be sort of a complementary harvesting where the tree might be harvested for something else, but the sort of like leftover byproduct is being used for to go ahead and get the oil out of. So think about, bark that way, and the wood part that way. So we have a lot here. We've got arbor vitae to talk about. Let me see, cedarwood. We have Hawaiian sandalwood, Indian sandalwood. I got to look at my list. We even have some cassia and cinnamon, which we're going to touch on because, believe it or not, those are barks, right? So let's start with arbor vitae. Talk about spiritual goddess, right? Like arbor vitae, the tree of life. Okay, beautiful, beautiful oil. Cleansing, purifying. We source it out of Canada. Let me look at my little list here to see if anyone had an idea. I think it was me. Yes, me. To talk about it. But with arbor vitae, for me, it's more of a spiritual use oil, meaning like I really like it for things like meditation, emotional support. It's very cleansing. It's very purifying to the air, both through things like, getting rid of odors and things, but also for things like negative energy in your home, or if you've spent some time with people that are sort of vampires in your life that have drained you of your positive energy and you need to be a little replenished. Arbor vitae is a great tool to use for that. It is also one that is really good for your skin. So a fantastic oil. Another one, the beautiful stories of the tree of life and how it is used by the Indigenous people of Canada, and the beautiful, respectful way that it is sourced through doTERRA. Another great video to go and catch. Sometime we'll have to do just a whole co-impact sourcing or just sourcing video on all of these because the stories are incredible. I mean, you just cry the whole time how awesome it is, but it's just a beautiful oil. Diana, do you have anything on emotional side of arbor vitae over there in emotional land?
I sure do. Yes. So it is the oil of divine grace, according to the Essential Emotions book. And, it is really wonderfully helpful when you're looking to have peace, surrender, grounding, trusting, relaxation, or grace, right? And, you know, you can see that it is just such a super strong tree that just a little bit goes a long way in the essential oil. And it's just really, it's right there for you to feel capable and sturdy and feel grounded and powerful and independent, and to, you know, just kind of take control of that moment. And yeah, it's just, there's nothing like it, right? There's nothing like the way that it smells. And it just really adds so much to anything you blend it with. So it's wonderful in the diffuser. It's wonderful in any kind of topical treatment. It's just, you know, it's just a beautiful essential oil that's just really makes a wonderful note. Like, you know, we were talking about how to blend your own things, and you have like the different notes, you know, of heart note and top note and all that kind of stuff. And it's just really a wonderful, just grounding base of, you know, for any kind of, you know, blend that you're creating. So it just really is an amazing oil. I love it.
It blends beautifully. It plays well with others, right? It doesn't have to steal the show, but it sure does complement and bring out and sort of, like you said, round it out. I love that it is such a nice, it's great in the diffuser. So good. And in any roller ball, like any roller ball, add a drop or two, right? Of arbor. As you can tell, I'm like adding this, adding that. That's why I'm not good at remembering what all is in my different rollers that I make, because some things are just sort of like, oh yeah, you have to have a drop of this. Oh, you have to have a drop of just 1 or 2 drops. You know, it doesn't have to be the main player to really play an important role, right? Okay, how about, I have been a little obsessed with cedarwood lately. I'm not gonna lie. We got home. We've been away from our home. People have been living here. It's not like our home has been empty, but a large portion of our home has been empty. And man, we've had to do a whole like cleaning, dusting, but also like fixing the energy in our home. I know, you know, maybe not everybody understands what I mean by this, but our home, if you've ever been to our home, you probably know our home definitely has a very warm energy to it. It's a very welcoming place. And boy, when I walked in, I could feel just like, it was like it was dead. It was very, very depressing and sad. And I've been using a lot of sage and a lot of cedar wood everywhere. And I don't know why the cedar wood, but it just keeps calling to me to be the thing to have going. And it smells incredible. And it's just been so restorative for us during this. So, yeah, cedarwood, right?
Well, I think that's why, because cedarwood does create that emotional balance. So maybe that's creating some balance of energy in your home too.
Yeah.
It's really grounding. It really is. Probably next to frankincense, probably my 3rd favorite tree oil.
Wow.
We've
oil.
used.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, tree oil.
Okay.
I have a whole list of my top 5.
I didn't even think I could have categories. Damn, okay.
My top oils change on need, right? On need and purpose in the moment. But no, we've used cedarwood since we were introduced to oils. It's always been our diffuser at night and in Seth's little his rollerball for sleep, because it's just very, very calming and very, very grounding. And it wasn't until we had, maybe it was this past spring or the spring before, we had cedarwood as, it was either a freebie for the product of the month, or it could have been in our BOGOs. I don't remember, but I just remember stocking up on that because it's an oil that we use every single day. But I started doing some research on that, and I came across all this fantastic research on skin and how it helps with psoriasis, how it helps with acne and eczema. That one blew my mind, because had I known that, we already, we took care of that issue with some helichrysum, right? But had I known that, I would have been dousing him with cedar wood because it was way less expensive than the helichrysum, right?
Yeah.
But
right?
I do like it for skin, and I've been adding it to my facial serum since then. And I diffuse it Sunday mornings. It's a really good time for me when I'm breaking open my planner, my Bible, and getting ready for the week and just laying it all out on the table. Cedar wood manages to make it into the diffuser because it's just so grounding and just calming. I can sit with my thoughts with cedar wood. They calm down enough for me to make sense of what's going on up there. But yeah, I love cedar wood. It's just, I just love it. I love the way it smells. If I could drink it, I would.
Yeah, it's one of those that we don't get to drink. You know, I think that if you haven't ever smelt our cedar wood, you probably think of like those bits of wood that you get at the store to throw in your closet, or you know what I'm talking about. It's not like
is that cedar wood, if I walk in an aisle at Christmas or in the fall and they have those cedar wood chips in the aisle, I am just sneezing and feeling like I'm going to die and I can't breathe. So
yeah.
To have a wonderful experience with the cedar wood oil was just, I don't know. It just changed everything. And that, you know, it just speaks to purity, of course, but it was a completely different, it's not the perfumey stuff you smell, you guys. It's not that at all.
There's almost,
it smells nothing like that.
There's like one note that you know, that we're all familiar with. That's like, if you were outside in the woods walking through a cedar forest, right? You would know the scent, right? You would remember it. You'd be like, oh, I know what that is. That's cedar. But it's so rich and so deep. And the scent is so beautiful. It is not, you know, the fake versions are all just that one note. It's just that one really crazy note at the top. And to me, it really does feel like the forest.
Yeah, for sure.
In a true way. It's almost like you get the dirt and everything in there, and the fresh air, not just this perfume weird. So if you're thinking, oh, cedar, because you're thinking about no, just forget that. No, that's not the same thing. This is like a whole different world. And it is. From our ancient oils class, this ancient Sumerians believed the cedarwood tree to be the tree of life and used it for so many things, so many beautiful ways, and incorporating it into spiritual life as well as healing. And it's been around for a long time. It's been used, and we've found so many great ways to put it to work. I just love it. It's one of my favorites too. And lately, I love when new ones kind of get into your new shuffle, you know, like a radio station, you have one song all of a sudden.
And I bet with the sage, popular. It smells amazing.
Oh, it is so good. It is so good. It is so home. Yay. Let's do this, you know. And then of course, because I'm crazy with my trees, I've also got other diffusers going with the new Midnight Forest, which we'll touch on later. Oh, it's like amazing in here right now. If you're not a tree person, just stay away, because I am rocking up my trees over here. So let me think, have we missed anything emotionally? I mean, grounding, right? It's just a beautiful, beautiful tool. Diana, did you have anything to add on that?
It's the oil of community. It really helps you to, helps you to feel like you're belonging, like you're supported, you know, brings you that emotional connection. So it really helps you to see that you're not alone, and to help you experience the strength of groups and relationships. And cedarwood actually comes from, it's called the Juniperus virginiana. It comes from the southern United States. So it's a wonderful renewable resource that we really, I mean, it's just a beautiful wood, like you said, and a beautiful thing. And yes, it's strong too. You can put it, you know, on a cotton ball or put it on something and be like repelling those moths or whatever you need to do. But, you know, but it's still just like, you know, like Susan taught me to use it for like relaxation and sleep. And I love it for that. I didn't really have a kind of like a conception of what I needed it for until after we talked about that. And so, yeah, it's integral now to my sleep routine.
Cedarwood and lavender in the diffuser is so nice at night. It's one of my favorites, and it's so simple. I just have to throw out there quick while I'm thinking about it. I am extremely blessed to have a cedarwood hope chest from when I was a young woman, and has traveled with me through a lot of life. But it's a pine chest, but it's lined in cedar. And it's been around for a really long time. We won't say how many decades, but the wood doesn't smell as much as it used to. And I kind of recharged it with my cedarwood oil, and just kind of like put the oil right on the wood. And it's unfinished wood on the inside, because of course you want that for the moth repellent, you know what I mean? So if you do happen to have like any kind of, like, we used to have a lot of little cedar kind of things that are made to put in your closets or in your drawers with your wool sweaters and that kind of stuff, you can put the cedarwood oil right on that, and then you have that natural cedar aroma, and it's just really great, and also helps to protect your woolens from little critters that might like to eat them,
from being snacks.
Exactly.
That's such a good idea. I got it. I'm a little like, I almost cried. Like, I'm a little blown away. Here's the thing. Follow your intuition when you're just looking at your oils and you don't know why. You don't know why, but for whatever reason, something's calling out for you that's what you need to use, and you put it in your diffuser and you're using it and you're just like, man, that feels good. And you kind of think to yourself, yeah, but they all feel good, right? I mean, aren't they all awesome? I'm like, what? I'm not going to put one in there and be like, oh, puke. You know what I mean? Like, they're all great. But why on earth, you're drawn to something? It just follow that intuition. I'm looking at the cedarwood. I opened up my book now to the page, and it's saying that, it takes you from feeling separate to feeling connected. And that is literally exactly what was happening with our house. Like, it felt just all of we weren't connected anymore, and it wasn't ours anymore. Our family energy wasn't a part of it, and the liveliness, and we needed to reconnect with it and kind of get back there. And I just cannot believe that that's what it's for. I did not look it up. It just was like, I don't know why, but this is what we need. And it is exactly what we needed and still need. And socially connected too, which we haven't even started that yet. So, we got to do that next, but I'll be smelling of cedarwood when I get to finally hug you all, right? Okay. So, am I skipping anything? We're all happy. Cedarwood is amazing, right? Let's get into some sandalwood. Okay. Right. Talk about spiritual oils, beautiful oils, timeless oils, our sandalwood. And we have 2 sandalwoods, and yes, they are very different. Okay. They really are very different. So we have Hawaiian sandalwood, clearly sourced from Hawaii, and we have Indian sandalwood. And man, must-haves, right? These remind me of being little, right? I'm a sandalwood, sage, patchouli, hippie mom girl growing up. These are the scents of home for me. So I'm just so excited. Diana, you had some things with the Hawaiian sandalwood and the Indian, yeah?
Yeah, both of them. Yeah. So both the Hawaiian and the Indian sandalwood are the essential oil comes from the heartwood. So they, have been in high demand for many, many decades and centuries. And they're just like, everybody loves them. They have that super distinctive aroma to them, where the difference between the Indian sandalwood and the Hawaiian sandalwood is that the Hawaiian sandalwood has more of a sweetness and a kind of honey aroma to it, as opposed to just the more woody of the Indian sandalwood. And the Indian sandalwood they're both just very devotional. They've always been very devotional trees and devotional woods that have been, a way to reach the divine, and a way to use them in meditation and also in prayer and in, ceremonies. And so, they're great on skin. because they just really get to like the root of whatever's going on in your skin and help to stimulate your own natural healing process and make you feel better. And Indian sandalwood was used, you know, also for embalming, as well as, you know, how myrrh was. And it's just very, very able to help you feel, you know, beautiful, help you feel inside of you that grounding, that meditative state, just to be able to reach that. And yeah, both of them are taken from the tree and made into really small, like kind of like sawdust type of texture, and then they're steam distilled. And so that as they steam distill them, it's like a really long process, and it takes a lot of effort and time to do that. But they've been in demand for so many years that people haven't sourced them sustainably. But the way that, you know, and have depleted the forests, especially like Hawaiian sandalwood, that was one of the big trade items in Hawaii from the beginning of contact with Hawaii and the outside world, and just quickly got very depleted. But the trees are still there on the island. They're still hidden, growing on the island, that people have not discovered. And they're still able to use the fallen trees. And that's all that doTERRA uses. Meanwhile, they are now replanting and bringing back traditional groves of sandalwood on Hawaii. So both of these are wonderful source of this, but they need to be protected, because like the frankincense, they are not, you know, people didn't realize that they really just need to allow them to continue to grow and allow them to replenish themselves instead of continuing to take them, right? So sandalwood, both sandalwoods are very, very, as I said, divine and spiritual. The Indian sandalwood just helps to offer clarity and spiritual strength. It calms the heart. It allows a bigger perspective and allows you to reach your divine purpose, you know, really to get into that purposeful exploration of yourself and reconnect with the divine. So that's super important. And then of course, you know, the Hawaiian sandalwood is very similar. It's great for devotion and spiritual practice, but also it is calming, stabilizing, and also harmonizing. So it does actually help to bring back, you know, those relations, you know, between people as well. So it does have, you know, as opposed to completely into the meditative and divine and spiritual, it also brings in the component of people, you know, connecting in that high way, you know, in that really, really high level way. So deeply connecting and deeply being together. So yeah, it's beautiful. They're both really lovely. I have them, and they are very viscous also, like the myrrh, like the like vetiver is. They're, you know, you have to be patient and allow them to drip out of the bottle, and you do feel a little bit, you know, of the, when you let it like dry onto your like fingertips, it does feel slightly sticky. Yeah, but I mean, it's amazing.
I was reading
I
was reading something interesting today about the Indian sandalwood, that if you want to, like, let's say you have like a photo shoot, or maybe your wedding, a photo shoot, well, make sure you're not sensitive to it first, okay, before a wedding, we all know. The next day to, you know, wash your face clean, and then dilute the Indian sandalwood and just massage it into your skin, and it will just give you the next day just this gorgeous glow. I thought that sounded lovely, right? Doesn't that sound so nice? And then also it's really good for environmental stressors on plants, that you can make just like a little spray thin it down and spray, like if your plants are having an issue with critters and things getting to them and environmental stresses, that you can give them a little spritz, and it's been shown to really help them to thrive in those stressful situations. So it's just amazing the different uses, like, you know, from one thing, from helping your poor plants to glowing at your wedding. You're covered with your Indian sandalwood, right? They're just awesome. They're some of my favorites in the diffuser. I don't think there is a tree oil that I don't love the smell of. Maybe, I don't know. There might be one. We'll find it later. I mean, it's not that I don't like it, but it's not my favorite. Okay. So cassia and cinnamon. So you've gotten cinnamon sticks before, right? And they're kind of like, they're like little wound, you know, tight. What they are is thin shavings, basically, of bark from the cinnamon tree. Cassia and cinnamon are both, you know, they have a very similar taste. I think I remember from one of Miss Susan's classes where mostly the cinnamon we get in the States is actually cassia. And that's okay with me because it's frigging delicious. Cassia is like, oh my God, in your coffee every day. It is the best thing. It helps to curb cravings. It is amazing for helping, if, you know, with, you know, keeping our sort of blood sugar levels harmonized, if you will. It's just a fantastic oil, and both cinnamon and cassia are great for that, right? If you are curious about some fun uses of cassia, go check out our essential oils for intimacy class that's on our podcast. Who knew? I did not know. Let's just say Susan, Diana, and I are much closer than we've ever been before. we had some good conversations, but wow, the uses for cinnamon. I mean, it is like, it helps to, it's, you know, it removes inhibitions, okay, if you will. And what's interesting about cassia is it also is supportive of being shy and not having self-confidence. So you kind of get the two together and look out. Right? But really, you know, I mean, they're wonderful. And these are ingestible, obviously. They're cinnamon and cassia. So, you know, fantastic oils. How are you guys? I know, Romelia, you use it in your coffee every day. How are you using?
Every morning, yeah. It's really great, you know, for immune system, right? Like you had mentioned, but I think primarily for us, it was our first reach to help Matthew with his cardiovascular health. That was primarily the reason that we even looked at cinnamon and cassia. I had terrible memories of childhood memories of cinnamon, you know, for the cinnamon sticks. I remember getting that stuff in my eyes, and I was just like, oh no, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on that altogether. But I like to think of cassia as like a buttery cinnamon, though. It's just a very, it's a more gentle flavor.
It's like cinnamon,
I think.
toast. It's like cinnamon toast.
Yeah, almost like, yeah, just a little, just that warmth. But yeah, every morning in our coffee, it's delicious. Another way that I've been tapping into it has been with lemon and grapefruit and cassia. I was out of Slim and Sassy, and putting just a couple of drops of that in a veggie capsule in the morning held me over until Slim and Sassy arrived. So it was great for hunger cravings as well. And I really needed that support in the beginning of this whole intermittent fasting thing.
I love how she said that angry.
And looks at me at the same time.
Yeah, glaring at Susan.
I point at no one. My finger's just going crazy. No, but it really did help. It helped with that because, you know, I love my Slim and Sassy. I love that in my water. And just that I was reading more, trying to figure out how am I going to get through the next couple of hours. And that really did help. Putting the lemon and the cassia in my water or in a little veggie capsule, it was really helpful for that. So yay, another use for it.
It amazes me how much it helps to curb cravings. It's really, really good at that. Like a little bit. I love that idea for if you're out of Slim and Sassy. I mean, it is a blend of just, you know, those things and a few others, but really that's fantastic. It does a great job though. And cinnamon too, just to help get you through, push through that last few hours. Or maybe if you're someplace, you know, I'm one of those people I can't eat first thing in the morning. So if we had like a long day, like when we're doing Science Olympiad or doing long activities and I go, you can't stop. you start to get like, man, I'm really hungry, but a little cassia in your water and you're like, you're good. You're just good. And it's just fascinating how quickly it works, but so good. Cinnamon, Diana, you had, were you guys using cinnamon for blood pressure? Is that what?
The cassia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's, yeah,
On the
when Diana
feet.
had mentioned that, exactly, my husband turned to me, and it was at Susan's First Bibles at the oil class, and he said, well, why aren't we using that on my feet? I'm like, well, I didn't know. Now I got to go, I got to go read about this. I got to figure out how we're going to use this. And initially we did start with that, and it's just so much easier just to put a couple of drops in our coffee in the morning, and that is enough. It's just been enough. We haven't needed anything other than our little veggie capsules. It's been fantastic. So thank you.
Love that. That is awesome.
And it smells great. And it reminds us all of the holidays, doesn't it? And just the warmth and love of home and everything. Oh yeah. It's those two are just, they warm up your heart, and just really, like, they're just so familiar. But when you smell them, how they were actually, like the heart of them, it's not the same. It's like even deeper. It's even better. And like, you definitely don't want to miss out on the essential oil of cinnamon or cassia, because it's just even more than like, it's just more beautiful than just that simple, dried up stuff that you put on everything.
Yeah. Oh, it's powerful. It's so
Absolutely.
much stronger. Yeah. You only need a little bit. Only a little bit.
And you can add it to your balms, like that one balm of the Gilead. Add a couple of drops of cassia to that, and it really makes it potent. If you're looking at, looking at relaxing your muscles, if you're using it for tension, it's beautiful for that. Or even for healing. It has some great properties for healing too. So, I mean, primarily for us, immune health, but it's just a gamut of a lot of support for sure.
Yeah. The cinnamon came into play pretty heavily during the early days of the recent scares, if you will, as a key player for helping to support cells from, reproducing things that we don't want them reproducing, allowing for that to happen. And so really, really amazing how wide the variety of uses that we can have from our cinnamon and cassia are. And they're just delicious. They make a mean cocktail. They make amazing desserts if you're interested. They're just so good. So yeah, anyway, are we ready to move on to leaves and twigs and branches, if you will, right? So this is kind of like, well, it's kind of the rest, right? Because some are just leaves, but a lot of times that's not the case. You're really getting leaves and twigs caught up in there. And these are also going to be steam distilled, right? And just incredible. The first one, though, we have to talk about is our friend cypress. Okay, out of Kenya. Cypress is just a beautiful oil. The smell is heavenly, and I'm all about it for the bladder, but it's just so good. I mean, I have a few things here, but I know, Romelia, you had some great tips and thoughts on cypress too, right?
Yes. That's a tree oil that we've used from the very beginning too. The more that I learned about it and the historical uses of it has primarily been urinary support, urinary tract support, but holy cow, amazing support for respiratory. And that has really just changed so much for us. That and eucalyptus, which I know we're going to talk about, but if it wasn't for those two oils, I don't think we would have been as successful with my son as we are now. And cypress is just, I just love it. It smells so, for me, it's a subtle pine. And it's kind of like, it sneaks up in there. It's not overpowering. It's very gentle, but it is so powerful. It's such a powerful oil. You could use it for recently I've been using it for like muscle cramps before I go running. If I know that it's going to be a really long run, I'll put some of that on with some deep blue rub just to kind of, and even with lemon eucalyptus, it's been really helpful in keeping cramps at bay. And, you know, afterwards, it's great for that too.
Wow.
I love it on Sunday mornings too, for meditation and for just planning for the week. I really love that it's the oil of motion and flow, the oil of movement. It just keeps things going. And I love that just for mental clarity, one, but also when it comes to respiratory, it keeps things moving. And I absolutely love that oil for that. But yeah, it's been very significant for us. And I can't imagine we'd be at the place that we are now had it not been for cypress and eucalyptus. It's just, they're just incredible oils.
So, and you're talking the respiratory support, because you guys have definitely had a wonderful, successful journey for respiratory support. And
there is still more coming out. I mean, even on, what is that website I was just on? I want to say it was like the COPD Foundation. They're even tapping into using eucalyptus and cypress as therapeutic, you know, add-ons to what they're doing already, because they have shown that both of these oils help with inflammation, specifically in the bronchioles. So that just, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how, you know, we can see this national organization that is so keen on just this one topic, this one type of condition for people, that they're tapping into this because of what they can do. It's just, I just love these two oils. Cypress is just my hero.
And you're using them aromatically, right? Is that
aromatically in the beginning, and we haven't had any issues, but in the beginning I made a balm with that too. I mean, very simple, like coconut oil, not fractionated, but just whole coconut oil with eucalyptus, cedarwood, cypress, and I think peppermint was in there. Maybe it was breathe, because it had a combination of things. I'm pretty sure it was breathe. And just something simple like that, just before bedtime on the chest. So it not only kept his airways clear, it was also working at that cellular level too, as he was inhaling the vapors from it. And it was very soothing to him. And just, it's,
game changer, right? I love that. So we might as well segue into eucalyptus, right? I mean, because I love eucalyptus. It is definitely one that is in our diffusers on the regular around here. There's just something about it that I find to be incredibly supportive and grounding. It makes me feel really like focused and ready to go. It really brings me into my center, and I just appreciate it so much for that. It obviously smells good. It smells clean, you know, it smells crisp and fresh. It cuts through anything else and gets rid of it. But man, oh man, such a beautiful, beautiful oil. Let me see here. Well, you've been using it for that same thing, right? For the grounding and for
and then, you know, recently too, because it was in our BOGO, I read a couple of articles on it that showed how it was great for skin, for acne prone skin. That blew my mind. You know, when you have just this passion for it, right, and you only use it for this. But I will tell you that with my favorite blend, and this, I mean, diffuser blend, and this is like in my top 3, and it's one that you will find more often than not in my diffuser, is eucalyptus, lime, and lavender.
Ooh.
When that is going, I literally feel transported to Australia. I'm not sure if that's what it smells like there.
But you're there. You're in your imaginary version of Australia.
Yeah, that is my version, and I can see myself sitting there. It's hilarious. But
there's kangaroos hopping by. She's got a koala she's hugging.
I got a wombat. I'm petting a wombat.
Yeah, you're rubbing a wombat's tum-tum. I I love it.
I'm just transported there with just that blend. I don't know. It has that power over me.
I'm going to try that so I can go on vacation. Man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it just, eucalyptus, wonderful respiratory support, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, just, it's great.
Yeah, antispasmodic. Yeah.
Yep.
I like that too, because you've got a flower, like an herbal flower, lavender. You've got a citrus, and then you've got a nice tree in there too. So what a nice little.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
What is the emotional side to it? Because I really don't know what the oil of it is.
It's the oil of wellness.
Oh,
Look at
that.
It's the oil of wellness, and what it really helps with is to help people become aware that they can heal. They are able to heal and to do the things that can allow them to be well, and teach them to claim their wholeness and their health. Because, sometimes people are attached to feeling,
it becomes
ill or like down. Yeah.
Wow.
And so it helps to bring you out of that and to liberate you from that sense that, you're a person that, I'm going to get, sick, or things are not going to go well with me in the health realm. And so you're just kind of expecting that. Well, you don't, obviously when you expect that, that's what you get, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. You want to manifest the good things, and cypress with it, if you were saying, it's really great, and it's the oil of motion and flow, but it really just helps to release that energetic stagnation too. So cypress is amazing for that. So both of those together are really going to release and get the stagnation moving and get you in that wellness mindset. So that's what we want.
I really love that. That's really powerful, and it says a lot to our transition, and what we were dealing with, because that totally was the mindset, is that I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. And why? Because he was told that, this is as good as it's going to get. And of course, oh, wow, that's powerful. Thank you. I love that.
It serves the whole family too, because we all start to believe the limitations are the person. Right. You know what I mean? It's almost like, well, we can't do that because I can't leave this, because or they can't do that because they don't have that ability. You start to see outside of that, and to be able to dream and view a person in a place of wellness, as opposed to forever in that place of feeling, I love that. That's amazing. And it's so true. The emotional side, especially with chronic illness, or just, something that's been going on for a really long time. It is incredible. And unfortunately, a lot of people never break out of it. Even if their body can heal, they're emotionally defining themselves as this person who has got this other, this problem, and they never do break out of it. You see it a lot. You really do.
Yeah,
you see it a
for
lot.
sure.
So
you do see it a lot.
I love that in the case of like a respiratory, you get like the emotional perfect blend with everything you need for the bronchial health.
I love that.
Oh, we got the one for you. This is perfect. And not to mention the koalas and the wombats, because that's like just a benefit above and beyond. Because that's just awesome, right? Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so let's jump on to Douglas fir. Right, I think Douglas fir is like a little bit of an unsung hero in our tree oils. You see it in blends here and there, but we're not out there singing songs of Douglas fir very often, and we should be, right? It's just, for some reason, it just kind of is this quiet little oil, but boy, it's fantastic. So good for focus is something that I really like it for. If you have members of your family who struggle with focus, it's an incredible tool for that. Respiratory support, obviously, I'm sure we'll have some talks on that, but also massage, and eucalyptus is really good in a massage too. Diluted. Ooh, yeah, you'll feel like the wombat getting your belly rub, being all like, yeah. So how about Douglas fir? Sorry to make you laugh. How about Douglas fir? I really want a wombat. I've really become obsessed with them. But anyhow, okay. I'm gonna get my eucalyptus so I can.
You're hilarious. We do think of fir trees and the Douglas fir as like a kind of like a Christmas tree type oil, you know?
Yeah.
But when you when it releases the essential oil and you really get into the sap, it's sweet.
Yeah.
It's like sweet. So in almost every diffuser blend that Douglas fir is almost like a candy or like a really sweet, diffuser blend, because it's just really beautiful in that way. So it just really helps when people, are having, like you said, like it's going to help to relax the muscles. It's going to help to relax the spirit. It's going to help you feel, able to overcome mental fatigue and stress. It's the oil of generational wisdom, and that is because it helps us to learn from the past.
Yeah,
so we can be open to breaking the generational patterns, and also learning the wisdom of our, where is the wisdom in what our experiences have given us. So even though it's just such a sweet, it appears to be very sweet, and you think of it Christmassy and that sort of thing, it is just like a really great support for you to lean on, so it's like a really wonderful oil in a little bottle.
What a great oil to use, or to bring in. And I think cypress is like this as well, but if you are trying to become unstuck, right, or to have a breakthrough into your belief, right, or stepping into your power, removing the sense of I'm not worthy, or the who am I to think I can, mentality. What a great oil to include in your blends that you're using to sort of reach that next level of yourself, right? Tap into that.
But it's the opposite of these thick ones, though. It will come out of that bottle like you need to take it slow, to try to be very
calm down, Douglas fir.
You look at the Douglas fir and it's like out of the
well, it's so excited because it's like,
how did I run out? Did I run out already?
That's amazing. I love it. Oh my gosh. Romelia,
so
did
just
you
be careful?
Yeah, she's an enthusiastic one. Okay.
No, I always look to the firs mostly for respiratory. That's just been our defined way of living, and always looking for respiratory support. But it reminds me more of a citrus oil when it's coming out of the bottle, and that it's very thin that way. So that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it. I didn't think about it. But
yeah, that's so funny. So yummy though. I think it's just a beautiful oil, and it does play well with others, right? Okay.
They can live a long time too. Yeah. Any of the firs, but so it's interesting that they also bring you that, just all of them together, both Siberian fir and Douglas fir and different ones. They're just filled with wisdom, and because they've been standing there, growing for so long.
Well, and they Siberian fir also, which we're gonna talk about, which we can just throw in next if you want, is a generational healing oil, and another huge tree that lives generations, right? It survives for generations and generations. So it is interesting how it's almost like, going to the wise one who can see, who can look at things from a different perspective and see the reality, and how, oh no, there's a longer story here, move on. Your destiny is not necessarily what your past was, or your family's past was. And that it's fascinating that sometimes you feel silly talking and saying it, right? Because it sounds silly, but it's so not. It's beautiful, and it's nature, and it's one with us, and we are one with them. And it's just a beautiful thing how we can work together to work through these things, these times, you know. I love it. I think it's great. Okay, let's talk about Siberian fir. I was going to do tea tree oil, but let's talk about Siberian fir, because we are still within the fir family here, right? Another one where we're sourcing from the leaves or needles, as it were, and the, you know, some little bits of bark probably get in there, and mostly twig type stuff, but emotional support, right? Purifying. Come on, Siberian fir is, gosh, just amazing. If you have never smelt the Siberian fir, you are in for such a treat. It is glorious, to say the least. It is clean and purifying. It is a wonderfully grounding oil. I love it. For me, it is a powerful tool, and it is known for being a powerful tool for decision making. So if you are in a transition of trying to figure out which way to go, or you are at a crossroads, or you're even just trying to remove the noise to get to a place where you're able to focus on your decisions and why you're doing what you're doing, Siberian fir going in that diffuser goes a long way. It is just a powerful tool. It is something that I have leaned on heavily in diffusers. It's, again, generational healing, right? Mending relationships with family members, building relationships with family and friends, and maintaining and having grace and patience and love for people, even when they maybe, you know, are wounded in some way and they need you more, and they need, you know, and or maybe you're the one who needs them more at different times. It just helps to build and facilitate that true relationship, which is not always beautiful, you know, but the fact that it's continuous is what makes it so beautiful. So I love Siberian fir. It is just, it's just a go-to all the way around. So we know generational, right? But what else do you guys have anything that I'm missing beyond the just absolute gorgeousness of this oil? I'm gonna flip through here and see, but
I love it in the like in a steam bowl, because even though it really helps you clear out, like if you're needing a steam bowl, that means your head is all clogged, you know, and you're just really feeling like everything is bothering you. But unlike some of the other oils that you can add to there, Siberian fir, you can breathe it in so easily. It's so gentle, like you don't feel like, woo, I feel that cleansing in there, woo woo. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like that. It feels, I mean, and we love to feel that, believe me. No, when you're in that situation, you're like, please, can you clear this out? But like the Siberian fir is just so gentle. I love to put it in that blend for clearing the head.
I'm looking here. You know, I really, this book is great. The Advanced Oil Magic has it listed for support of asthma, immune stimulant, dry cough, cold and flu, muscle cramps and spasms, emotional overwhelm. There you go. Rheumatism and mucus support. But I really like here that it says that it's great, a restoring oil that illuminates the wisdom and purpose of progressing through life. So there's that decision making and being able to move forward and to build, you know. It's just an incredible tool to have. I will say it resonates beautifully for the more masculine members of our families, you know, or those who maybe are looking for that same level of support but don't resonate so much with the florals, which can be really helpful in that way. So, you know, it makes wonderful things like, you know, you can add it to men's aftershave, perfumes or colognes, you know, diffuser blends. It makes a great bath, you know, for soaking and supportive. So yeah, it's just all around fantastic oil. An all-time favorite, definitely in my top 5. And that's not just trees. It's everything, right? I just love it. So let's jump over to tea tree oil, because we're not going to I talk about a Swiss Army knife. I know Romelia's, you know, the Swiss Army knife, but tea tree oil, let's be real, right? This thing, you got to have it. So get it, just shut up and get it. Okay. You need tea tree oil. You need it to be pure. You need it to be good. You need it to be powerful. And this is the one you need. I mean, I can't tell you how often we use our tea tree oil. I love it in a diffuser. I know not everyone does. I love it in a diffuser, especially if I'm cleaning. It's energizing, but it cleans the air so beautifully. It gets rid of athlete's foot in your socks or your kid's socks. It cleans your showers. It is great for immunity to put in your flume to take internally. It is gentle as all get out on your skin. You can use it directly on your skin for acne or any type of flare-ups or rashes. I mean, let's be real. Your scalp for dandruff or just stimulating the scalp, and in your shampoo, you see it kind of, fake used all over the marketplace these days, the way poor lavender is, it's just fantastic oil everywhere, right? Maybe not your cats, but otherwise everywhere, right? I'm looking at my list and it's so long. You know what? Toenail fungus, fingernails, everything. It's just this, like, it's the guy who's ready to go in and do the ugly jobs, but do it really well and gently, but powerfully, right? It's like time to call in the tea tree oil. Hey, lice. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's all the weird stuff that nobody wants to talk about, but man, you don't have to talk about it if you have tea tree oil, because you don't have any of these problems, because it just knocks it out for you. It's just awesome. I don't know about the emotional though.
It's the oil of energetic boundaries. So it's amazing in that way. It supports those healthy boundaries and helps you to be able to see that other people's choices are, like, a learning experience, or those kind of things where people are just can't stop bringing in, their energy to your space. Then you can really take the tea tree, and it just kind of like enforces that boundary and helps you to realize, like, we're separate. This isn't, I don't need to take on your energy. I can, deal with my own energy and be here in the purpose where I am, and what I'm here to do, instead of feeling like, oh no, this person is coming in and they're just making me feel drained, or making me feel like they're toxic, or that they're, just too overpowering, overbearing, or codependent, or parasitic. All of those type of things you can use tea tree on yourself, or as well as in the atmosphere around you, and it really does help you to just feel protected and feel like, I can handle it, I can handle this.
So I can definitely attest to that. You had shared that with us back last spring. And I remember, I absorbed so much energy from people. And I remember you need to protect yourself. Get out that tea tree. And wouldn't you know, that's the month that we got the touch, right?
Nice.
And so I started putting that on, just like here behind my ears. That was the only place that I put it on. And as I went to work and encountered people, and I tell you what, the days that I did not use it, that's when I felt the most emotionally drained, because I wasn't protecting my energy, and I was absorbing everybody else's, which is like, I'm coming home and I'm crying for an hour or two just so I can release it. But I know that when I started using the tea tree, it's just a little dab, just a little roll behind my ears. It made a huge difference. And that's what I heard in my head. I heard Diana telling me in my head, protect your energy, protect your energy. You empaths need to protect your energy. And I'll be darned if it doesn't work. It works. Holy cow, it works. And it works really, really well. I come home and I'm able to function. I'm not drained, and I'm not taking everybody else's crap on, and I'm able to say, no, not today, vampire.
It's also great. It's also great to kind of clean your brain of like just those recurring thoughts.
Right here.
The top of the head.
A little bit on the top of the head.
And just kind of get those Like if you feel yourself getting into that pattern where you start to repeat that story, that negative story, whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be just about someone else. It can be something that you just tell yourself over and over again, but you don't realize it, you know, then the tea tree also helps to kind of take that and tell you, like, just stop it, just interrupt that pattern, which sometimes that's all we need, just to bring the awareness and then interrupt it and feel that we're supported, and then we feel better.
Yeah, I carry that roller ball in my little oil pouch. That's one in there. So it's a double whammy too, you know, if somebody gets hurt, you can just roll that sucker on there too.
Helps with everything, right?
Exactly.
It really
put it on the cats, but put it on if they scratch you, put it on.
Put it on you, right? So
we
only have a couple more to get through. Boy, there's so many trees, right? And then we have a couple blends, but the blends are just kind of like, hey, let's let you guys know about them, because what they are blends of all the oils we've been talking about today, which is a great way to get a hold of them for yourself, right? So we've got petitgrain. Petitgrain we're getting from the leaf of the tree. What a beautiful, amazing, powerful oil. Think of it similar to lavender without any of that lavender-esque smell. It is sourced out of Paraguay. It is an incredible oil for all the same things that you think of lavender being wonderful for. So for people who are sensitive to or don't like lavender, this is a wonderful go-to for them. It's interesting too that it has such similar properties. If you see a tree, you know, it's like an orange tree. It's like an orange type of tree, right? And then you have the lavender, which is totally different, more of an herbal floral. So they're just completely, I don't know. I find that fascinating that their chemistry, the benefits, right? The constituents that we utilize from them have such similar benefits for us. So skin, sleep, emotions, great in your shampoo, give your hair a really good shine. As a great hair treatment. We were talking about hair masks the other day, I think, when we were, in the non-toxic Q&A, right? And a wonderful thing to add to a hair mask if you're looking to sort of get rid of the dullness in your hair. Wonderful for meditation, it's grounding, and really good for both your cardiovascular system, your immune system, your digestive system, and your nervous system. I mean, come on, right? This oil is incredible. I love it. I really like the smell. I don't know how would you describe it? I feel like it's like hard to describe because it doesn't smell like anything else. You smell and you're like, oh, I know what that is, but it doesn't have a citrusy smell at all. It doesn't have,
and it doesn't have a piney smell like a tree, or it doesn't have a woody smell. It's a really tough one to pinpoint. You're right.
It's hard to place. I would say if you were categorizing it, it would lean masculine in the world of scents, or neutral, but certainly not feminine. If you're you know what I mean? When you're kind of going through, there's no sweetness necessarily, you know, it's just a really beautiful oil. And the leaves, they are true leaves. They are not needles like we've seen in these others that we've been speaking of. Really, really beautiful oil. Definitely go check out the co-impact sourcing. Watch how the steam distillation of these guys works. It is fascinating. The sourcing in Paraguay and how helpful it has been to the people living there. It is a beautiful story and a beautiful oil. So that is one to have on your list and have on hand at all times. So do we have any emotional? I can look that up for us right here.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew you would know without looking.
It's the oil of ancestry. So again, the trees bring in that wisdom, right? So it does help you to be the pioneer in your family. It helps you to be the chain breaker in your family. It helps you to cultivate your healthy traditions and have positive connection as opposed to negativity and dragging each other down. And, you know, it really is something that brings in, you know, confidence and certainty and optimism. And, you know, it just helps to ease those things that make you feel low. It's very uplifting, you know, and it reduces that mental fatigue that you can get when you're just dealing with so many things. So I think that's really what, like what you're saying about the scent, hard to categorize. That's exactly what it brings to my mind, is that, you know, the fact that your mental fatigue just lifts. You smell it and it just immediately, your mind seems to wake up. And so I think that it's just like an amazing, just an amazing like feeling to have of that. And so we've become familiar with the effect, right? And we love it.
Just a note, petitgrain is able to be used internally too. So this is a wonderful, all three ways of use you can get from your petitgrain oil. So, or petite grain, as the gentleman who sourced it, who is the one who worked in Paraguay and sourced it and does it. That's how he pronounces it. So I should probably pronounce it that way, because I'm sure he's the one who knows how to pronounce it correctly. Petite grain is how he says it. So let's talk a little bit about, black spruce, right? I know, I'm a sucker for these. Guys, I love my tree oils. Holy crap, black spruce, right? This oil was new last year. Was it just 2020? Or was it the year before? I want to say the year before. Yeah,
I think it was
before.
2019. Yeah,
it was 2019, because I remember being in the place when it was announced in
yes.
the video, and the snot running down my face, crying because of the sourcing story on this one. Oh my God, what a beautiful story. This little bottle of oil is a power punch. It is absolutely glorious in every way. Emotional. It to me, it's like superhero oil as far as the emotional capabilities here. It just brings so much, fortifies, right? That's how I feel with it. It's fortifying. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel capable. It makes me feel ready, if you will. It is wonderful for respiratory health, as we've seen in our other, these big, beautiful trees. Really good for spirituality and meditation as well. It's just a fantastic oil. Its smell is just, it's different than the Siberian. It's a spruce, so it's not a fir. So you really kind of, this is another one where you feel like you're, like the cedar wood, where you feel like you're actually in the woods with it. It doesn't smell like just the one tree. You really get the whole experience from it. I think it's a gift. It is a gift, this oil. So looking here, it says it's analgesic, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, and expectorant. These are the things that, we would kind of expect. A spirited roller perfume that you can make with it. I like the sound of that. Black spruce, rose, and tangerine. What? That sounds amazing. And then use it to release trauma and to reattune to universal energy. So there you go. There's that feeling of ready, of power, of strength, right? Go ahead, Diana.
Yeah, the oil of stability. That's what it is. So exactly. Yeah. And also able to help you deal with any kind of fear, whether it's subconscious or like sometimes we talked about the epigenetic situation where there's like trauma in the generations, so it helps you deal with that as well. So yeah, all the things that you said and more. The oil of stability. But it's like so strong, but it blends so beautifully with everything. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like it's strong, and that's black spruce, and you just like recognize it instantly, but it also harmonizes really beautifully with other things, from floral to citrus to spice.
Giant, right? Yeah.
To herbal.
Big gentle giant. Yeah, it really does. It's just, I think it's such a wonderful oil to have going in your home any time of year, and to fortify your family, to bring together. Maybe I need to add some of that to my cedar wood for that universal energy getting back over here. But like, I just think it's incredible. The emotional benefits are just enormous. Some of the things it's also listed for supporting our memory, you know, so if you're not a rosemary fan, get out your black spruce, or if you really have some issues, maybe use both of them. I don't know. Then muscle tension, immunity support, respiratory support, mental stress, adrenal fatigue. That's a huge one. And immunity during pregnancy. Obviously, you're take this one internally, right? So be careful with that. But having that going in your diffuser is going to be wonderful to support you and topically as well. So just a powerhouse oil. All right, our last one. And this is the one that I'm like, I like it. I like what it does, but it's not my favorite smell. And that's the lemon eucalyptus. I love it for everything that it does. But it's not, there are no kangaroos that, you know, this is not that eucalyptus. Okay. This is a much more citronella-like scent, right? But wow,
Yes.
is it powerful. It is an amazing tool to have. It is just so good, so strong. We get it from Northern Australia. So I guess there could be maybe some wombat. I don't know. Some sort of cute critters. Hopefully not the spiders. Ooh, I don't like the spiders there. Cleansing, positive energy, really good clarifying oil for skin, right? What do we have on well, Romelia, you had some things on. Weren't you mentioning it earlier?
I did. I use it
muscles,
for
yeah.
a massage for muscle tension.
Oh,
When I put it on before I run, with the eucalyptus, the cypress, it gives it like I have a little tingly sensation. So I know that there's blood rushing to the muscles and they're getting ready to work. And then after, the same thing, just a little bit more on them. And it just really helps for, so that my muscles don't get fatigued, especially during those long runs. And when I come home and I finish running, my hips are still very sore, but my muscles are not. That lemon eucalyptus really helps. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, I was really surprised to find that use for it, because I too was not a fan of the scent. I have diffused it, like in my pilot outdoors. I have diffused that, but I wasn't really interested in the smell because I didn't I'm not a big citronella kind of fan, and that's what it reminded me of. But to find that other use for it, oh yeah, I highly recommend for anybody that you don't even have to run. If you're going to go work out, it really helps to just it gives that catalyst to your muscles, and it gets them ready to work. So I really love it for that. It's surprising. It's very surprising, but I really love it for that.
It says here in that book too that it's really good for muscle injury. So yeah, it makes sense.
Nice.
That's really cool. That's really cool. What do we got over there?
It's the super ingredient in our Terra Shield, remember?
Right.
It is a wonderful way to get rid of those nasty critters that want to spread disease and bite us and take our blood. So yeah, it's
those vampires.
Yeah. Terrible. Those mosquitoes. So those little bloodsuckers. But yeah, it's a lemon scented blue gum eucalyptus. So I don't know why it's blue. I guess because it looks blue. I'm not sure. Or maybe the inside is blue. But yeah, it does have a lemony scent to it. And I use it, and I like citronella too, because people are so familiar with the nasty fake stuff that it kind of reminds you of that when you smell it, because it shares some of those tones, but it isn't that way at all.
Oh no.
So
no,
like
it's
the
not.
lemon eucalyptus and the citronella are not, they're not like those citronella candles or those like bug sprays that you put on that are super toxic, and I like them in room sprays. I actually put them in room sprays, and I use them a lot to deodorize, like any kind of stinky cleaning job. I will add some citronella or add some lemon eucalyptus to it, because it's just really works really well especially on surfaces, so it works really good that way. And yeah, it's just very unique It's also the, this shouldn't be surprising, it's the oil of protected space. So it helps you to feel, you know, that you're self-contained, that you are protected, that you have clear boundaries, that you're reinforced. And then of course, like I said, it's creating that protective space against those little flying bugs and stuff in the Terra Shield. And it's that key ingredient, you know, that is natural, so that we're not using these nasty chemicals that nobody can pronounce. That's why they have to be an acronym. Nobody can pronounce that.
Yeah, it really is. The benefits are enormous. Good for candida, good for any type of bathroom cleaning as well. Any type, you know, bugs, cleaners, skin, muscles, that clarifying aspect, emotional, you know, it's just a fantastic oil. Now this one was new. I want to say also in 2019.
Yes.
So, you know, it's one that I think hasn't gotten, like this year, it's going to come out, like, watch, it's going to become a leading oil now that we're all out and about more. Cause you know, people just got it around the holidays of 2020 or 2019. And then we hit 2020 and you know, who knows what happened, but now we're like, oh, look at these oils that we got in 2019. You know, they're coming out, right? They're finally getting their big year debut. And I think this one's we're going to find it more and more, recipes, DIYs, uses, benefits, more stories about, you know, oh, this is how I used it. It's how it worked for this, how it worked for that. Just really, really, you know, fantastic. So those are the treats.
It smells great with cinnamon.
Oh, I bet that sounds really good. Cause that would like really kind of bring them both. Okay.
Yeah, they're both strong, but they're both bringing, you know, like a whole different side of the spectrum. So I would try it with some cinnamon. I just put it on my legs just now because Romelia's like, massage it in.
Now she's on.
I like it.
I like it. I do. I bet that cinnamon brought in a different kind of ting, huh?
All right, look, we already had that comment. Okay, so let's move on to the blends because we only have two, and then we're done. We'll let you guys go. I know. Hey, look, there's a lot of trees, right? These tree oils are amazing. We have Northern Escape, which is a permanent part of our collection now, which is incredible, super inspiring, really good positive energy oil blend. And then we have the Midnight Forest, which I don't know when you're watching this or listening, but if you can still get it, get a few of them. It is divine. Okay. This oil blend is incredible. So let me go over here real quick and see. The Midnight Forest itself is a combination. So look, we've talked about so many of these superstars, right? Siberian fir, cypress, juniper berry, black spruce, wild orange, frankincense, pimento leaf, pimento fruit, cistus, caraway, and labdanum. So just a beautiful, it's piney, woody, spicy. It's all those great things. I can't tell you enough about.
I love it. I actually love Midnight Forest way over Northern Escape. Now, Northern Escape is really good. It really is, but this Midnight, oh my gosh, I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm gonna butcher this, but it is sort of like the concept of this is to bring in the Japanese tradition of forest bathing. Okay, I'm just looking at the Shinrin Yoku. I'm gonna sound like a fool because I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but I do not speak Japanese.
It's pretty close.
Okay,
it sounded good to me.
There you go. But just the combination of everything that is going on in there with the Siberian fir and wild orange, and then you've got, you know, the grounding.
It's so good.
Got the piece with the frankincense, you know, you've got, it is poetry. Okay. I know I sound like an idiot, but I'm telling you, it was blended by someone who knows how to blend some serious oils and create a whole different experience. I pray I gotta tell you, they've got to come out with this in our permanent line. It just has to be. We need this in our lives. We all
Yes, we do.
I mean, we just do. We need this in our lives. It's just important. And the thing about it that freaks me out is, you know, you heard me reading off some of those things. It's not like we can't remake that.
No.
It's not a blend of oils that we can go ahead and order and make our own. Everything we make will be a copycat. And when you do a copycat, you're looking at scent, but it's not going to have the same emotional support function. It's not going to be the same chemical constituents. So you're not going to have it. As much as please bring it. Okay. So get it. Northern Escape. So what do we have in here? We've got, let me look here. Black spruce, yay. Siberian fir, yay. Balsam fir, yay. Lavandin, cedarwood, cypress, hinoki, frankincense, nootka, kananga, and clove. So with the exception of lavandin, we might be able to come up, but that's probably why this is part of our regular collection now, because these are oils, whether or not they're sourced or in our regular connection here in the States. Hinoki is available in another market. Nootka and kananga are all available in different markets.
Which I absolutely love that hinoki. I have I have just less than half a bottle of that. Oh my gosh. I just know it's so beautiful for grounding. I remember that one kid, I'm never going to forget that one kid in Science Olympiad that started freaking out.
I remember that.
And I'm just like, okay,
I do remember
are you open just to trying this? And you know, my kids have found a lot of support for this, and I think it could really help you. And I tell you what, in less than 5 minutes, that kid stopped crying. He stopped freaking out. And he says, you know what? It's okay. There's another event. And I just like, yes, that's the power of that oil. I love that.
He was overwhelmed.
I love it.
He felt like he disappointed his partners.
Yes, that's exactly it. And he was a wreck. He was a mess. He was a mess. Yes.
And then all of us are like, brush it off, baby. You got another one coming around the corner.
And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's talk about this.
Got the oils.
Will you just try this? Because my kids love it. Can you just give it a shot? I guess it's not going to get any worse.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy. My heart went out to him. Oh my gosh, my heart went out to him, but it helped him. And I will always love that oil for that grounding effect, and then just that calming and being able to say, you know what, let's go. It's done. I'm moving on. I'm leaving it back there. But yeah, I do love Northern Escape. I do love it. It's wonderful in the diffuser. Yeah. But there's something about that Midnight Forest that just, oh my gosh, it just talks to me in here. I'm not sure what it's saying yet.
Yeah. Well, but it's even people who,
to me.
I mean, everybody loves trees, right? I mean, you know, we don't have any tree haters, right? But people who the oils they resonate with, the ones that really speak to them more tend to be more the florals or the herbals. Even those people are like, oh my God, this is an incredible oil, and it is definitely working for me. You know, I think that says a lot. That says a lot about it. I apologize if you're watching or listening to this and it is gone, that you missed it, but that's
sorry.
Okay. It'll come around at some point. But if you are watching or listening to this and you don't know how to get it, reach out to one of us. Our contact information, it'll be in the notes, and we will try to get you hooked up with it ASAP. Right now it comes with, you can even get it with a diffuser, which is one of our all-time favorite diffusers, the Pilot. It is just the most awesome portable, take anywhere, everywhere diffuser. And I love it because it's in this charcoal black color, which is just so up my alley, and it just goes everywhere. You know, goes with everything, if you will. So yeah, just an awesome deal. The other one is now the Northern Escape, which I know we sound like trust me, it's freaking amazing. Okay, it's just we're all obsessed with the Midnight Forest right now. It's amazing, and I'm thrilled that it has been introduced into our permanent line, and I will always have that with me on, you know, in stock around the house, because you're right, it diffuses really, really well.
Yes, I have 2 bottles of it that I still haven't touched. I'm still working on one, and I just love it. I do. It's wonderful in the diffuser.
Yeah. So
Oh
if,
yeah.
if you're trying to get a hold of some of these oils that we talked about, and you want to just, try a blend, right? I mean, another one that Balance has is tree heavy, tree forward, right? Try some of the blends, or reach out and we'll help you get it figured out what will work best for you, to what your needs are, both physically, emotionally, energetically, all of these things, to be able to help you out to make a right choice. It's hard. We found this with the citrus oils. How many, that was my mother saying, how many citruses do I need? How much uplifting can a gal need? Right. And then we dug in and we learned, wow, look at how different they are. Look at all of these details. And that's what today was. But there's a lot of trees. So it took us a while. If you stayed this long, you are amazing. And we love you for staying with us for a long time. So thank you so much, Diana and Romelia. Thank you to Susan and Tammy, and everyone, for lending all of your great information. And if you have questions, just reach out. This will be on the podcast, which is Living with Intention, as well as on our YouTube channel and our Facebook groups, available to you all. I hope it was helpful. It was darn fun. And I smell like a forest goddess right now. Every time somebody mentioned one, I'm like, ooh, let me try that. Let me try that. I'm like, I feel roots are coming out of my feet into the ground over here. I got to get up and move. All right. Anything to add?
I just want to say that the Northern Escape is like all the trees of the world. It really has all, like it takes you like on a trip around, even though it's northern, it takes you like on a trip around the world to where those northern trees grow in the colder climates.
Yeah. All those big, beautiful wise trees, right? The spruces and the firs, and it's delicious. It's delicious. All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what that noise is all of a sudden, but with that, we're out of here.
Bye, everybody.